The economy is not smiling, not at all. And I know many of you know what I'm talking about. If you take, let's just say, 100 naira to the market today and you buy something, you take the same 100 naira to the market tomorrow to buy that same thing. We all know it's going to be about 150 naira or even 200 naira. I mean, it's not funny at all. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can curb waste. Stop wasting food items. So I'll show you how to leave your food items so it can last you for a long time without you getting pests and weevils and then you have to throw it out. Or how you can store your vegetables and fruits so it lasts you for a really long time. Then you can use that same money to buy some other things instead of buying that thing you already have. It makes sense, right? So if you're watching me for the very first time, welcome. My name is Ify and welcome to my kitchen. And if you're an old timer, you know how much I love you guys, right? I really do appreciate you guys always watching this video and of course engaging in the comment section. Thank you so much. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into today's video. So we all know that beans is a staple food in Nigeria, I'm sure in most African countries and all over the world. And we like to buy a lot of beans, but weevils will not let our beans rest. All those weevils, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Great. So one way I find that I always store my beans and I see no weevils at all and it can last for years. If I want to leave it there for the next 1 year, it is fine. Is when I buy my beans, a whole lot of it or small quantity, depends on what you want to do. What I do is that I put it in my Ziploc bag, just like this, and I put it in my freezer. And no, it will not freeze. It will only be cold. It will remain just like this. Whatever insects, bugs, or weevils that are already in here, they will die in the freezer or whatever. They will not grow and multiply. So it is best in your freezer. And you can put it in your fridge as well. Just make sure water does not get into it, okay? I know some of you are probably saying, okay, that's a small quantity. I mean, how can you store a full bag of beans and all that? Now, if you have a big deep freezer, of course, you can always put it in a big plastic container. Just put it in your freezer and put stuff on top of it. That's another way of storing it. So if you have a large quantity that you can't store in your freezer or your fridge, either because you don't have a freezer or you just don't have the space, okay? You put your beans in your container, whatever container that you're storing in. A lot of people like to use jerry cans or your plastic containers, your airtight containers with lids. You can put in dry pepper, you know, your dry pepper. You can put some in. Unfortunately, I don't have some now. I'll have shown you, but I know many of you know what dry pepper looks like. Or you can use some cloves. So this is what cloves look like. It has a really strong aroma, and these weevils don't like it, so they run away from it. So you can just put some of it, you know, just scatter it in your beans, you know. Then when you're ready to cook, make sure you pick it out if you don't want any clove flavor in your beans. You can also put some bay leaves in the container that you're storing your beans and cover it. These cloves or bay leaf or dry pepper, they have a strong aroma that drives away this weevil, so it will also protect it. But personally, I just like to put it in the freezer to avoid stories that touch. You get what I mean? So freezer or fridge always works, and it can last you for as long as, you know, anytime you choose, okay? So I already said that before, yeah. So we've got rice here. We know that in Nigeria, I'm not sure a day can pass without rice. That's how much we eat rice in Nigeria. So we always buy bags of rice, you know, large quantities of rice. And for smaller families, you probably don't buy a whole lot of rice. But, you know, whichever way or wherever you fall, I'm going to show you how to keep your rice in such a way that your rice is not infested with ants, weevils, or any undesirable element, and then you have to throw it away. Yeah? So put your rice in an airtight container like this. There are big containers, there are small containers, whatever size you desire. Put it in there. Personally, I like to put my rice, again, in my freezer because it's just the best way for me. Like, you can come back in another year and it is perfect. But if, again, you don't have storage in your freezer or you don't have a freezer, that's okay. The same thing that works for the beans will work as well. Just put in some cloves, and then also put some bay leaves. The aroma is the same thing. It'll keep those insects away. They don't like the smell. Yeah. And make sure you do not store your rice in any place where there is moisture, because moisture will also spoil your rice. So and your beans and any dry food item, make sure you put it in a cool, dry place. That is if you're not putting it in your freezer. And if you're putting it in your freezer or your fridge, make sure you're preserving it in such a way. You're storing it in such a way that water cannot get into it, because water is the fastest thing that will spoil your food item. That's the fastest way. Let's say water is the fastest thing. Or water is the surest and fastest way for your food item, dry ones, to spoil. Okay, so you have to be really careful about that. Store it in a place where there's no water and put some of these things, and it'll keep for longer. And that way you save some money instead of tossing this thing out and buying. That can be really annoying. Now we're talking about flour, all-purpose flour or any kind of flour. As you can see, my own is already in my Ziploc bag. I'll just take it like this and put it in my fridge or my freezer, anywhere I want to store it. Water won't get into it and it will remain like this for as long as I need it. Now, if you do not have a fridge or freezer, or there's not enough storage, the same thing. This bay leaf is very, very powerful. Just put 1 or 2 bay leaves inside it and your airtight container. Now, I know that. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but sometimes you put your flour in an airtight container with the lid is airtight, everything perfect, and then you go and come back and say, okay, nothing is going to affect my flour or my beans. And then you come back and you see insects, plenty, weevils inside, and you're surprised, like, well, this is an airtight container. Why is it in there? It's simple. Most times when you buy these things from the store, your rice, your beans, they already have the eggs of these weevils in them. So by the time you put it in the airtight container, it's supposed to be airtight, but obviously there's still oxygen in there. And as far as there's oxygen in there, the eggs will leave, they will germinate, or they will grow to become these weevils. So don't be shocked next time when you store it in your airtight container and you still see ants, weevils, or other bugs. It's because they're already in them from the store. So it's nothing you did wrong. So even when you put it in your airtight container, please still add in a bay leaf or 2 to prevent those things from leaving and reproducing and just spoiling your product or your produce or your food item. It's very annoying. Okay, so it's clear, yeah? So many times we've gone to the supermarket or to the open market, grocery store, wherever you buy your vegetables from. You bought your lettuce, and before you get a chance to use it, it's already wilted or it's no longer good. Even and this hack applies to when you buy your herbs, like your parsley, your mint, all those herbs that you buy that have got roots. This works for all of them. So you get your lettuce, your parsley, your mint, your basil, anything that has roots. So put it in water. Now this is a jar, a clear jar, as you can see that I put water. It's just room temperature water. There's nothing here anymore. And then you put this in here. That is not all. No, that is not all. When you're done, you're going to take a clear bag like this. This is a bag that I used to buy some produce from my store. I just take a clear bag and then I cover it like this. And then I place it in my fridge. It will last you for at least another 1 or 2 weeks. Trust me, this one works all the time. So when you buy your produce and you use what you want, instead of the other one to spoil and then you toss it out, don't do that. Just make sure you place it with the roots in water, and you can change the water every other day, maybe every 2 days or so. And that's how often I like to change mine. So it will last you and remain as fresh. Try it and let me know in the comment section what you think about it. It works for me all the time. No throwing away and no spoilage. Perfect. Another thing that I know that I use and it works well for me is my lemons. When I buy my lemons from the grocery store, what I usually do is I get my water in my container like this, and I put the lemons in. Oops, this is too full. I'm going to reduce it. So I put my lemons in like this. I'm going to have to put more water to top this a little. Yeah, this is perfect. So I'll make sure the water covers it as much as possible. And then I cover it like this. And I store it in my fridge. Of course, I like to change the water at least once in 3-4 days. You can change it more often if you like, but I find that keeps it for a while. So I just put it in my fridge and it will remain as fresh. In fact, 1 week, 2 weeks later, it is still nice and fresh. So try this hack and you'll see that you never have to waste your lemons, or it doesn't spoil or get dry or anything. Okay, so this is a very valuable hack. And I think it really does look pretty. So I really like this one. Let's put it in your fridge and perfect. Another food item I want to show you how to store is your bread. Now, many of us will buy our bread and keep it on our countertop. After like 2-3 days, you see that it begins to get moldy. Yeah, I'm talking about Nigeria. I know in the UK, you can put your bread for a week, even over a week, and nothing will happen to it because there's just a whole lot of preservative and stuff. But that's not the case in Nigeria. In Nigeria, they hardly use preservative in the bread. So after like 2-3 days, and you know our country is quite hot, so it's not as if the environment is cold enough to preserve the bread. So when you buy your bread, personally, when I buy my bread fresh from the bakery, I put it on my countertop or in my kitchen for at least a day. After that day, I'll just take the bread and store it in the freezer. You heard me right. Not in the fridge, in the freezer. Let me show you one that I have in my freezer already. So this is a frozen loaf of bread that I have in my freezer. It will remain as fresh as the first day that I bought it. So any day I need to eat bread, I just bring it out and let it to thaw naturally. I can bring it out a night before or in the morning, just give it a few hours and it will defrost and it will still be as fresh as the first day that you bought it. So no stale bread for me, no moldy bread for me, because I preserve it to the last. So there's no waste at all. So I encourage you to try out this hack. Store your fresh bread in the freezer, your deep freezer, your freezer. Let it freeze. Whenever you need to do it, to use it, bring it out of the freezer and let it defrost. Same goes for your baked snacks and most baked items. They do better in your freezer than in the fridge. In the fridge, it'll just become stale really, really quickly. So while it might not be moldy and all, it will become stale, it won't become as fresh. But your freezer will keep the baked things just as if you bought it that day. All right? Great. Another thing I want to show you how to store would be your carrots. So these carrots, I just got them from the grocery store, and the best way I always store my carrots, and it will last me for another 3, 4, 5 weeks. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. These are tried and trusted tips that I'm sharing with you. So I just take my Ziploc bag. I make sure that the carrots are all dry. Water, moisture is the enemy, guys. So I take my carrots nice and dry, and then I store them in my Ziploc bag just like this. And I store it in my fridge, the topmost layer of the fridge. I find that place is just nicely cold. It doesn't freeze. The topmost layer of the fridge, the top shelf, or in my vegetables section. That part is also beautiful for your vegetables. So I just put my carrots in and yeah, I seal it up. And then I put it there. It's just nicely cold and nothing happens to it. Nothing. Another 3, 4, 5 weeks, it is perfect. But most times, it really doesn't last up to that long. But there was one time I bought a whole lot from the market, and that was how I kept it. I didn't even wash or rinse it, nothing. I just put it in my Ziploc bag and I stored it in my fridge. And I think for over a month, we were still using the carrots. Yeah. So try it and let me know. Now, some other people swear by this way. They take the carrot and put it in a mason jar or in a container. Add some water, just like I showed you to do with the lemon. They add water, cover it, and put it in the fridge. Every other day, they change the liquid and they swear by it. They say it lasts them for so long. So you can try out that hack as well and let me know if it works for you. This way works best for me, and maybe one day I'll try with the water. I don't know why I haven't. This is the way I use and it works for me. But try it. So there are two methods. Put it in your Ziploc bag like this, or you can put it in your water, in your mason jar or any container, put water, put in your fridge, and make sure you change the water. Yeah. So the last food item I want to share with you is your vegetable, your bell peppers. Now, if you live in Nigeria, you know how expensive bell peppers are. Like, you don't even want to joke. It is not funny. So the last thing you want to do is to buy your bell peppers at an exorbitant rate or at a costly rate, and then you treat it anyhow and then it spoils. It does not even last for as long as it should. Now, your bell peppers can last for up to 2 weeks if you treat it the way I'm about to tell you. So when you buy it from your store, from your open market, wherever you buy it from, make sure you pat it dry. Make sure there is no liquid and it is still firm. Don't buy all those soft ones. It's still nice and firm, just like this, okay? So you take it, and if it has water on it, please pat it dry. Water is the enemy. I know they say water has no enemy. Does it even apply in this case? Well, you get what I'm saying. Water for your fruits, vegetables, dry goods can be the problem. So you want to be careful. Make sure it is well dry like this. There's no drop of water here. Another thing you should note is that bell peppers love cold. Oh yes, they love cold atmosphere. So your fridge is the perfect place for it. And even though they love cold atmosphere, they still like a bit of, well, cold but not so cold. They still like it a bit humid. So you want to store it in your Ziploc bag. I always like to store it here. And before I put it in it's either I leave it open, kind of like this, so some air can still get in, or even if I seal it completely, I like to poke holes in my Ziploc bag. The vegetables can still breathe. If the atmosphere is cold and it can still breathe, it is not so cold, it is not hot either, and it will last you for as long as 2 weeks. I promise you. Okay, and when you put it in your vegetable section of your fridge, do not put it at the back. That part could get really, really cold, and if it's like mine, in some cases it could freeze the vegetable. So make sure you want to put it in the front part of your vegetable section. You know what I'm talking about, the front part of it. That's where you want to store your bell peppers, or in the topmost part of your fridge, the top shelf. Good. So just place it there and it will last. If you also have leftover bell peppers, maybe you finished cooking and you have some bell peppers you've cut in strips, just wrap it in your kitchen towel and then put it in a container and put it in the fridge. But you should note that that would spoil easily because you've cut it open already. So use it within 1 or 2 days. Use it up. But these ones will last. And let me sound a note of warning to you. If you go get your bell peppers and you already see some mold on it, or some black, I don't know if the right word is mold, but you see all those black things that will grow on it, please just toss it away. It's no point. It spoils. You do not want to eat it, okay? And if your peppers become too soft, what I like to do, once my peppers are, maybe they've stayed for too long and they're now really soft, I don't use it for stir fries anymore. I could just blend it and add it to my stews and soups. So that's another way that I save money and use up food items that I have. So that's it, basically. Is there any food item you'd like to learn how to preserve so it can last you longer and you can save money ultimately? Let me know in the description box so that I can do another video and share that with you. Thank you so much for watching. And I want to give a shout out to one of my, in fact, there are many of you. So I'm going to start that from today. I'm going to start giving you guys a shout out. The first person is Jojo. Jojo, thank you so much. I see your comments on all my videos, guys. All. Thank you so much, Jojo. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you want a shout out from me, let me know in the comment section. The next video might just be you. So let me know, okay? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share this video so you can also help people, a whole lot of other people, save money in their pockets. All right? So like this video, share it, and don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Until then, take care and keep eating good food. Bye!